Hi, I'm Raghav from IIDST, and today I'll be walking you through how you can use Power BI to analyze your data and get meaningful insights from it. We'll be walking through the basics of Power BI and then slowly getting to the slightly more advanced concepts here. Firstly, let us get to know what exactly is Power BI. It's a business intelligence and data visualization tool that converts data from various sources into interactive dashboards and analytic reports. So essentially, it's a way to visualize your data and get more out of it. It's provided by Microsoft itself. It's a first party software from Microsoft itself. And let's get started then, because there's nothing more to be said about Power BI. It's as simple as that. It's a data visualization tool. We can download it from the Microsoft Store itself. Opening up Store here, and then we'll simply search Power BI. It's a free app available for everyone in the Microsoft Store, and we'll get it installed. Great. Now we can see that Power BI desktop has been successfully installed. So we'll simply open it right here. So this is what the landing page of Power BI will look like. For now, I'll start by creating a blank report. And this is your work area. You'll be seeing this a lot as you work in Power BI. This is essentially where you will be building the dashboard. So this is called the report view, because these are where your dashboards, reports and analytics will be shown. This is the table view, where your data, you can view the tables and the data that you have. And this is the model view. The model view essentially allows you to model relationships wherein you connect multiple data sources with one another. Because let's say I have an order ID in one table, and in another table I have another column called order ID. Now both order IDs are the same, so we can build a relationship that can connect both tables. This is where it happens, the model view. Apart from this, this is the get data. Connect to data from multiple sources. As it says, you have a lot of sources here, and if you click on more, you have an n number of sources. It's just loading right now. You can see you can import JSONs, XMLs, text, PDF. You can even access SQL databases right here. There's also the option of Google Sheets now. Yes, you can see Google Sheets is also here. So there's a lot of sources that you can use here. This is the visualizations pane. This shows you all the visual abilities that Power BI has to offer. You can use a lot from donut charts, stacked bar charts. There's also cards, etc., etc. There are a lot of things you can do here. So without further ado, let's get started with the basics. Firstly, of course, to build any visual, to get any report, to build any dashboard, we'll need data, because of course we're building a visual from data, right? We are analyzing certain data, we are working on building and showing certain data in a proper report. So we'll get started by getting data from an Excel workbook. I have this downloaded here. This is a sample dataset that I downloaded from the internet. It will serve a purpose just as well. So we'll click on open. And here are all the sheets which are inside that certain Excel file. So if I click on orders over here, I have the sheet. It's a little preview that I have of the data that I'm going to be working with. So this here is the preview, and I'll just select it from here. Now once you select it, you have two options: load or transform data. If you transform the data, it will send you to a page where you can actually manipulate and modify the data that you have. For example, if you want to change columns, if you want to do, let's say, change rows, if you want to add a new column, things like that, you can do it from the transform data page. For now, I'll just load the data over here. And it's processing all the queries right now. Great. So now we have a new pane that's opened over here called data. And right here is orders, which we just imported. If we click here and expand this, we can see all of the columns that we had over here. You can see it has automatically converted the date to a date format. So we can see the little calendar over here. We know that it's in the date format. It has summed up certain values. We can see the summation sign over here. It has summed up the discounts and profits, etc., etc. If you, let's say, you do not want to sum it up, you can simply click over here, and here you'll see that column tools has automatically opened up. So we'll click here, don't summarize if we want individual values. So if we click here, don't summarize, you can see right here the summation has been removed, so it's not summarized anymore. But for now we'll just proceed with the original data as it was. Now if we go over here to the home, great, let's get started with the basics of our dashboard. Clicking here, we'll add a text box to a report. So we'll start very simple, we'll just say dashboard, and I'll increase the font size to, let's say, 24 or maybe 28. Okay, I'll make this bolder. Okay, I'll move it here. Great. Now let's actually add our first visual here. So let's say I want to see how many sales I made per month. So what I'll do over here is add a stacked column chart. Click here and it's gonna add this visual, but you can see it's empty right now. That is because we haven't put in any data yet and we need to populate it with certain data. So if we click on it right here, we can see that X and Y axes are coming over here, and we need to add data items so that the visual gets populated. So right here, we have order date and we'll add it to the X axis. And I want to see how many products we sold. So we'll have quantity on the Y axis. Great, you can see that we have a graph now that is showing how many products we sold per year. But what if I want it a bit different? What if I want to see per month? Well, that is where you get the date hierarchy, wherein you can see year, quarter, month, day. You can see here date hierarchy has been selected. If I remove, let's say, the year and the quarter, it's gonna show me the months in which the products have been sold. So we can see in December how many sales have been made. We can see in November how many sales have been made. We can see in October how many sales have been made. But let's say I want the year and the month as well. So we'll just remove everything from here. We'll click order date. Now we have a much more detailed view. We can see that in 2016 on September, if we hover over it a bit, we can see that 1316 sales were made in 2016 September. This is essentially the core of how, wait a minute, it just got reduced. Yeah, great. This is essentially the core of how Power BI functions. The core process is simply this: you select a visual, and then after you select a visual, you just add data to the visual, and the visual will automatically do the rest of the work for you. And if I let's say were to want to change the visual a bit, I would simply let's say if I just have it selected right now, and what I'll do is if I want a line chart, I'm just going to click here and it's going to give me a line chart. So it has automatically done all the work for you. You need not do anything. You simply need to populate the visuals with data. Alright, so I'm just going to minimize it for now because it's scrollable. So if you scroll it, you can just see, and if you hover over it, it's going to select certain fields. Great. Now let's head over to the table view. Like I said, the table view simply shows you all the data that you have provided to Power BI service. We can have a glance at all the data over here, and the modeling view. Since we only have one data source right now, it has not created any model, but when we add more data fields over here, it's gonna it's either automatically going to create relationships, or we can manually do that if we want to. For now, let's head over to the report view, and let us go over here to a very important thing in Power BI: transform data. It has opened up the Power Query editor, which we can use to transform a data and transform values if we want to. Let me show you how this works. So over here I have my order date, and if I were to right click on it, we can see that it gives us a lot of options. We can simply remove this column, we can duplicate this column if we want, we can even change the type. So right now it has automatically detected that it's a date, but if we want, let's say for some reason text, we can do that and it will change the type to text as it was. We can rename the column as well. So we can see we have a lot of functionality over here in the Power Query editor. Let's say I want to add a new column, we can do that simply by just a minute. If we head over here to the add column, we can click on custom column, and right over here we have a lot of fields. We can have a column name, we can have a formula. Let's say I want a new column that in the Power Query editor, we can also add custom columns. We can simply, you would land here at the home, we can simply go to the add column section over here, and then we can click on custom column right here. And if you provide it with a column name and a custom formula, like let's say you want to, for some reason, multiply profit by quantity. So if we do that and we give it a new let's say PQ for now, if we click OK, it's gonna create a new column wherein it's gonna multiply profit with the quantity of each product. So that is how it all works out. For now, I'm just gonna exit the Power Query editor. Okay, we're back over here at our report view, and let's say I want to see how my products are doing, what products are selling right now. So we'll click over here on the pie chart, and it's saying legend and values. So what we're gonna do over here is we will head over to the data over here, and here we shall search for product name, and we'll add it to the legend. And if we click on the values over here, the same values, we can see it has provided a very in-depth pie chart of what products are selling. Instead of this, we'll count distinct. Great. So now that we're back in the report view, let's say I want to get information on what category products are selling the best. So we'll use the pie chart for that, and we'll add the pie chart over here in the dashboard. Let's say I want it right here. Maybe I'll drag it a bit down. And over here is the category, so we'll add the legends over here and the values over here. It's automatically set count of category. So now we can see that it's giving us the products which are selling and how much they are selling. So technology was 18.48%, and office supplies are 60%, which is a good sign. We should focus on office supplies. That is how analytics are derived, and this is how it all works. Now let's say I want a better background for my visual. So I'll just click anywhere on the blank screen, not a visual. We don't want a visual. we just want to click anywhere on the screen and then head over to the format section. We can see canvas background, and let's say I want to add an image. I already have a stock image with me, so I'll just use that for now. And the transparency is set to 0 now. Great, but we want a fit fill, right? So as you can see, it doesn't look very visually appealing right now, but we'll be working around with that. So let's say over here I select the pie chart, I click on format the visual. Let's say I don't want detail labels, so I'll turn that off. We can simply hover it and see. If I head over to the general, I don't want the title either. It's simply showing us, we can easily tell that it's showing us which supplies are selling the most. If I head over to the properties, you can adjust the height and the width of the visual from here. You can see that it's automatically increasing and decreasing. If you want a more manual select effects, if you want a background, if you don't want a background, we'll simply turn it off. If you want a transparent look, if you want to increase transparency of the background, you can do that. I'll simply change it to 90% and I'll make the color a bit grayish. I'll also add a visual border with a color of white, and I'll round the corners a bit, so let's say 10 pixels, so that it doesn't look very sharp and unappealing. Great. Okay. Also, I'll just change the font over here. So if we head over to the legend option and text, I'll change the color to white so that it's easier to look at. Great. Now if I want to make the same edits over here, what I'll do is I'll click here, I'll click on the format painter option, and I'll just paste everything that I've done. So you can see some changes, most changes have been made, but because the visuals are different, some changes might not get implemented. So no worries, we'll simply do that here. We'll head over to the format section, and then we'll head over to the x-axis, and the color will set to white, and we'll do the same for the y-axis. For this, I don't want the title, so I'll just turn off the title because we already know it's displaying sales over here. We'll copy paste the format over here too, and we'll just make the font color white. We can see that our dashboard is now begun to take shape, and it's all coming together slowly but surely. But what if I want to add a certain time range over here? This is where the slicer comes in. So what the slicer does is it adds, it slices, it filters. Oh no, I selected it by mistake. It's pie chart only. I'll add the slicer right here. It filters out the data for you, so that if you want to look at only a certain range of data, the slicer is what gets it done. So we'll simply let's say order date, we'll add it to the slicer, and date hierarchy will be adding, and we'll add the year and the month. And if we format the slicer a bit, instead of vertical list, we'll have a drop down. Okay, single select only for now. and we'll just copy paste the format over here. I think the height and width are fine. We'll head over to the slicer settings, slicer header, and then change the font color to white. And also the values over here. So now we have a slicer. If I select, no, the values have all been marked black. We'll have to change it. Okay, let's make this black for now, just for simplification purposes. If I click here, if I select, let's say 2015, you can see it's only showing the values from 2015 now, and even the pie chart has changed. If I were to click both only 2016, sorry, we can see the values have again changed. And if I were to, let's say, drop down in 2016, and if I were to uncheck this and select only March of 2016, we can see that the data has changed now, all depending up on what we selected. So we have here, we have the slicer functionality as well. So for now, I'll just uncheck everything and let it sit there. Right, now I want to take a glance at what my sales and my profits look like. So I'll take a card. A card basically displays the data as it is in a simple format. So I'll have a card over here, and what I'll do is I'll add the sales section to the field here over at the card. So it's showing me how many sales, how much money I've made, how many sales I've done. So if I were to let's say copy and paste the format to this, and then color is to be white, and the category label color will also be white. Great. Let me just copy this with simply Control C and Control V. So we have another over here, and what this will do is, instead of showing us sales, it will show us the profit that has been made. So we can see it's showing us the sum of profit. But let's say I don't like how this looks, so I'll simply head over to data formats and click whole number. Right, so it's showing me how much profit I've made in a much cleaner format. Now again, the slicer works with everything. So if I click on January 2016, we can see sales and the profit made during that month. So it's all very intuitive, it's all very simple, it's all a part of the process, it all comes together eventually. A lot of Power BI is actually exploring around, getting to know things, getting how what works, what doesn't work, and with keeping that in mind, let's add another section over here which is going to show us what the region of the sale has been. So I'll simply head over here to the table view, or instead of region, let's because see, region over here is a general direction. Instead of region, let's have a city, so we can have a more detailed view on what cities are currently good for us, good for the business. So we'll add again, let's say this time we add a stacked bar chart. Over here we'll add it, we'll shift things up a bit. Okay, so on the x-axis we'll add quantity, how many products have been sold, and over on the y-axis we'll add city, so it's showing us how many products have been sold per city. We'll just copy and paste the format here. Great, and you can see over here we have a certain idea of what cities are good places to be selling the products we are selling. Apart from this, let's add some visuals to this. So we'll head over it and format visuals, and we'll head over to the bars. Great. So here we can apply categories. If let's say you want New York City to be a certain color, you can assign it. So let's say I want New York City to be this color. You can see New York City has changed. If you want let's say San Diego to be a different color, let's say this, it's gonna change. Or instead, if you want all to be the same color, let's say I want all to be this color, it has changed. But remember, we applied it to San Diego, different settings. So San Diego will remain in its normal form. If you want to change it, you'll again have to head over to San Diego right here, and you'll have to change the color to this. Same goes with this. And if you take a look here, if you click something, because see, it's as a dashboard, it's all very interactive, it's all working together as a whole, as a unit. So let's say I click on 2015 July, and it's showing me the cities where the sales have been made. New York City provided this many sales, highlighted. You can see highlighted are the ones sales we have made in 2015 July, how much money we made, how much profit there was, what categories there were. So it's all very interactive, it's very intuitive, it's very user friendly, it's all supposed to come together as a whole. Now another very important thing which I want to tell you is, let's say that you made some changes to the data. Let's say I was using an Excel sheet and I added a new column, let's say. So how does Power BI get to know that you have made some changes? We have to click refresh over here. Clicking refresh will automatically refresh the data from the source that you have connected Power BI to, and will make it function like so. Great. So these were the basics, the very basics of Power BI. This was an essential guide, essential walkthrough on how to get started with using Power BI, how to build your first dashboard, how to get it all working together. Of course, there's a lot more to be learned with Power BI, because the things never end. There are a lot of things you can do. You can apply formulas, DAX queries, etc., etc. But this was essentially a guide on the very basics of building your first dashboards, of analyzing data, of getting business intelligence, of manipulating data, and how it all comes together as a whole to build an interactive dashboard which you can use to get insights for any business. So that was it for this video. Thank you and happy learning.